Okay,
Thank you.
on the line I have Carol Decker, the legendary singer from Chappelle. Welcome, Carol, and thanks so much for taking this time out to do this interview.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the new single, "Read My Lips." I love the
Yeah.
song. It's a great song, by the way. It's
Thank
got
you.
it's got a real attitude to it, a real sort of swagger
Yeah.
to it, and I kind of got the vibe and the impression from the lyrics, etc. It was like I've got no time for sort of negativity, blah blah blah. You get one shot at life. This is where I'm at. No messing about.
Yeah. Absolutely. You've nailed it. And also, slightly impatient with a lot of people telling you you can't have your own opinion or say what's on your mind these days. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
You might have to beat that.
don't worry about that. And it's been 11 years as well for like new material to sort of emerge. You're back with a new single, new album, not just that as well, like a tour as well. Why
Yeah.
such a long gap? Did you have these songs in demo form from a few years ago and you thought, oh, well, we'll get back to that, I'm preoccupied at the moment? Or was it just totally, you know what, let's start an absolute from scratch, let's do new
Um,
stuff?
Bit of both. No, you nailed it, actually. I think you should be reading my mind, not reading my lips. That's exactly right. We had Ronnie Rogers and I, Ronnie's been my partner into Power since day one. We wrote, we put the band together, we've written all the hits and everything. And we do a lot of live work. We haven't stopped working. I'm sure you probably know that. And the live scene for 80s bands is just non-stop, So I have been really enjoying myself doing live stuff, but every now and again we jot down ideas and stuff, and we just never got around to saying, right, come on, let's get in the studio and do this. And so finally we did. But yes, we did have some songs that were half started, half baked, needed finishing off, and then about four or five that we just started from scratch and ended up with a couple went by the wayside. I still think that there might be space for them in the future, but we ended up with 10 that we could both agree on that we felt
Right.
were really strong. So yeah, some of them were started before, some of them brand new.
Yeah, and I suppose like with the COVID situation as well, probably that sort of like, well, it messed up a lot of thing for artists and stuff like that, where I suppose it wasn't possible to, you know, do stuff and go into the studio and stuff like that. But then I suppose like with the advanced technology kind of thing. I mean, how did you sort of like record this sort of like album? Were you old school sort of like doing it in the studio together? Because now
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I'm not technical, Kieran. I'm
right,
absolutely rubbish. I can't process it.
yeah,
I've tried. Ronnie even bought me a tiny mini mixing desk, and
right,
I couldn't even read the manual. It just kind of like danced in front of my eyes. So no, there's no file sharing when you write with me. I
yeah,
have to be in the room, and I have to hear it, and I know exactly what I want, and I can describe it,
yeah,
but I can't push buttons and make it happen. I've got to be in the room. So yeah, you're right. COVID was a bad time for a lot of people, especially for me. I didn't use the time productively. I didn't think, right, let's write some songs. I
yeah,
was just depressed and fed up. So
yeah.
I didn't do a kitchen disco and try and stay positive. I think I just drank a lot of wine and put on about 2 stone and
Didn't we
shouted at
all?
the television.
Yeah. Well, I think it was all right for the people sort of like that were very technically minded, because it was kind of strange because
Yes,
I didn't manage to sort of get too many, but the people who I did interview, it was like, oh well, he did his drums in London and I did my
yes.
vocal down in Manchester. I was like, what? How's that
No, I
work?
know. Yeah, no, and I remember hearing Kylie say that she referred to herself in the third person. She went, "Oh, she can record her own vocals now," and she did that on her last album, one of her albums. I think
Right.
the last one they started recording it in lockdown, and she did learned to put her own vocals down, which I'm just so in admiration of. But no, I'm completely useless. I just can't do that. But what I did do, which is interesting, not to do with the music, I did quite a bit of television shows, like where you're a talking head on, when something goes horribly wrong. Those television shows
Yeah.
that people do, and the channel would send us a flight case with all the equipment in it, the camera, the laptop, all of the cables, and my kids had done creative media production at sixth form, so they can do sound and vision and put a camera together and record and edit. So we would record for television programs in my house, and then you had to sanitize everything. They set it with wipes, had to wipe everything down, put it back in the flying case, and then a driver would come and pick it up, and you'd put it outside, like, and all stand back like it was a bomb or something. And he'd pick it up, take it off, and they put a television show together. So lots of people were very creative.
Yeah.
And I also did a lot of television programs on Zoom, where people want to interview you. So that really, really took off. But for my own stuff, now I'm completely useless and just can't do that, really.
Yeah. And how's the voice sort of these days as well? Because I was just going to say, like, as we all sort of like get older and stuff like that, and I mean, you were one, I'm just thinking songs like, Channing Your Hand and, stuff like that. I mean, your vocals were so strong and you were known for absolutely sort of belting them out. Is there any sort of like requirements to your exercise you have to sort of look after kind of thing with the voice kind of thing now, or is it sort of like,
Yeah, no, I used, when I was young, I used to put my whiskey down, stub out my fag and walk onto the stage, and that was it. But yeah, now I have to really sort of look after myself and do lots of vocal training, lots of vocal technique. I probably lost a tiny bit off the top of my range, but not a lot. And the bulk of my range is still good. I mean, I'm working all the time and singing all the time, and people are always still very complimentary about the pipes. So I'm very lucky. I think the bulk of it is there, but of course your voice does age like everything else. And,
absolutely.
And to power songs are so mighty, they can be a bit intimidating. But I think I'm still getting away with it, is what I say.
Good for you. And are you guys still sort of old school in regards to? So with this, I'm just sort of like talking like with this new album and stuff like that. Is this on a label? I mean, now, obviously, when you first guys came out, the 80s kind of thing, I mean, you had to have a label, to get your music out there, do you know what I mean? But obviously now, with the internet, there's you don't need a label, you can put it out. So, how's this sort of album? Are you still sort of old school? There's a label behind you, or?
Well, I have a label, which is my own music, so it's called Natlish Records.
Right.
So and I just put out to Power Music on it, and we've recorded at Ronnie's studio because he's got the studio in Monmouth. So we've recorded it all in house, and had a couple of our musician friends do some overdubs and stuff. Where we needed some really great guitar and stuff, which we're not good at. So we've had some players on it, but mainly we've done it all ourselves with software and programming and all the rest of it. Ronnie's brilliant at that, and it's on our label, but take the opportunity to let everybody know. If you go onto the website, which is topow.co.uk, we've done 1,000 limited edition signed and numbered vinyls, and they're flying out like hotcakes. So, and there's all the ticket links are on the website as well, and links to the social media. So yeah, we're sort of little cottage industry, doing it all ourselves. Which is fun, but it's kind of stressful as well because I have to do a lot of things that I really don't want to do. Like all the admin, stuff like
the
that.
boring stuff.
I just used to write songs and sing them, and somebody else did all of that. But you want to do it all yourself. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. With Chappelle, was it sort of like a quick success? With Heart and Soul and Channing Your Hand kind of thing. Was it a very fast pace, or did you sort of,
Well, when it took off, it took off like a comet. But getting there was a long slog. So I met Ronnie probably about 5 years before we got any kind of. Bearing in mind, this is Shropshire in the early 80s. There wasn't exactly a scene. So, we were both in local bands. We met. We had a personal relationship for a long, long time. We started writing songs, and my dad bought us some home recording equipment, and we started making demos, sending tapes away, and we got loads of what they say, close but no cigar, record companies sniffing around and going, actually no, don't think we will. Then we finally got a little publishing deal with MCA, then we got some London management, then finally in 86 we get a deal with Virgin, but that took 5 years, so that bit took a long time. The good news was, by the time we got signed, we'd written 2 albums. We'd written
Yeah.
British Spies, yeah, which was quadruple platinum, and Rage, which was platinum. So, we had a lot of ammo when we were finally allowed to get
Yeah.
going.
You were ready to go, kind of thing. And like
Yeah,
in
well, it's like, 6 year overnight success.
yeah. And in '91 you split as well, and sometimes that makes or breaks a band, and it's never quite the same with it. And obviously it's great that you got back together, a couple of years on after that kind of thing. But was that split sort of necessary? Why was just everyone exhausted at the time, or was it just?
Yeah. It was a lot of things, and
Mm,
I'll tell you a shortened version of what a lot of bands, particularly from my era, will tell you, and that's you start out like the four, five, six Musketeers. You're very, very close. You're on the road all the time. You see more
yeah,
of each other than you found. And Ronnie and I obviously were in a personal relationship for 12 and a half years, so we were a couple. And we got ripped off by our manager,
right,
and also signed really bad in perpetuity deals with our labels, so we can't get our stuff back. We don't own it. A lot of bands that happen to. And also, we weren't an organic band because Ronnie and I had the deal. We
mm,
wrote all the song, and then we put a collective of musicians around us, which was Mike, Tim, Paul, and Dean. Tad Rosgowski initially, the first guitarist on British Spies. Great guys, great players, but they had a production deal. They were signed to me and Ron were signed to the label. So when we finally had our hits, and bearing in mind this is back in the day where you made money out of being the writer,
yeah,
that started to cause a problem where they could see that Ronnie and I were earning a lot more money than they were. Although, can I just say, no guilty conscience here, they were on great salaries and cutting the merchandise, so that's fine. But it starts to cause a split
yeah,
and resentments, and they resented me and I resented them because I was like, I don't remember you in that damp little flat for 6 years in Shrewsbury writing the songs.
yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah,
So they were like, why are you getting all the money? And I'm like, because I wrote the songs.
yeah. I
So,
know.
so you get the infighting, you get ripped off, you've signed bad deals. It all came crashing down, and a lot of bands will tell you that story.
Oh,
Just
absolutely. Yeah, I've heard the story. Yeah, the joys of the industry, the ugly side of the industry, shall we say?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Anyway, but on a positive note, anyway, so the new album, it's entitled Be Wonderful, which is a lovely
Yeah.
title. That's out on the 10th of April on all formats. And not just that, but a tour as well. With it kicks off on Friday, the 10th of April at Leeds, and it finishes the 22nd of May at Neath Fest. But Carol, I'm very disappointed. No Manchester.
I never know why we're not there. We're in Sale. That's not far.
Right, that's not. Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
actually. Yeah, yeah. So that's
22nd of
okay.
April. So
Yeah.
that's selling really fast as well. If any of our
Yes.
lovely listeners are interested, that's selling really fast. So I didn't put the dates together. You have an agent; they do all the routing.
They do
It's
it
all
all.
down to multiple of things, including availability.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you want to tour, I don't know how they put it together. Actually, the sort of logistics of it all are beyond me. But Sale's not too far away. Come on.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll be there. So, but as regards to sort of like touring as well, are you a little bit apprehensive, sort of doing this, or nervous, exciting, a bit of both?
Yes, all of the
Yeah.
above. But yes, quite nervous because I do
Yeah.
work constantly. I'm always doing big festivals and really lovely things like cruises, 80s cruises. We did one from Miami and back around the Caribbean last year, which was amazing, and orchestral tours and all the rest of it. And I'm off to Vienna and just got back from Holland. Loads going on, but not like a tour where you're gigging 3 nights in a row, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sort of thinking, and like you were saying about make sure the old clack's in good shape. This is why I'm getting all my interviews out of the way because I will not be talking on the show day. I'll be
Save
resting.
that voice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a bit nerve wracking, but hopefully it'll be all right.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be brilliant. Well, listen, all the best with the new album. Yeah, and that comes out, like I said, April the 10th. It's called Be Wonderful. Good luck with the single as well. So, and the tour, have a great tour. And I think the album will be a #1 album. That's my prediction.
You're a sweetheart. You're a sweetheart. Thank you. Let's hope you're right.
I will be. All right, Carol, you take care, and God bless.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.